David.
Workshop order. Okay.
Wrong button.
All right. Brittany?
You have a fund summary report that was updated at the end of the day. All the bills are paid, transfers mainly done. Here's the next.
Okay. Next on the list was a discussion about capital improvement projects for next year. I had two gentlemen from HapCap visit me Wednesday last week, and they wanted to make sure that Crooksville had an opportunity to apply for some community development block grant funds. So we talked about an hour about some projects, and I explained to them working with Buckeye Hills in trying to develop, a comprehensive plan for the town. And with that said, he said, well, what was some of the things on the SWAT? So I just told him some of the things we had on there. And based on that discussion, they felt that a neighborhood revitalization grant that we could apply for $500,000. Now, Tom wasn't in on the meeting. He had somebody else he was had to take care of for a problem. But I went ahead and listed a few things, and I need council's input to start with as to what projects they felt that should be honored. Now, I left everybody a copy of this what some of the development projects are that you can apply for, but under that neighborhood revitalization, its projects are designed to improve the quality of life, liability and functional ability of distressed areas and neighborhoods through a targeted investment in public facilities such as construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation of public infrastructure in lower moderate income neighborhoods. Well, there's several areas we looked at. I talked about sidewalks and curbs is on the list. Also some paving, rec center rehabilitation, which means the roof on that one side is leaking, and some HVAC if it's eligible for the rec center, new HVAC, and walking trail at the park with some security lighting. That pretty much ate up that $500,000. That was what I said. This is nothing written in stone. It just gives them some groundwork to go, and they double checked with the grant, scope of the grant, and they felt that those projects there were viable projects that we could apply for. But I need council's opinion based on what you recommended in your SWOT as to what we could add to it or take away from it, the project. Because in January we have to hit the ground running with this. Now,
what's the match on that?
Okay, the match
20 bucks.
0. Okay. Remember, if we do in kind, it reduces that. Now, when I talked about the match, the first thing they said, well, there's 0 match for this type of grant. However, the scoring is better if you put in some money to it, and the county commissioners would add some funds also. I have not approached the county commissioners yet, but I think
I guess what's the scoring rating on different projects probably have a different scoring and different rating, correct?
And I don't know what that is. They couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
But the first thing they said was discuss it with the council, see if there's anything we want to add or take away from those few items there. Now,
I would love to see just sidewalks, distressed sidewalks instead
Oh,
of just.
sure.
I agree.
well, I showed him the thing of sidewalks that Buckeye Hills give us, and
Maybe
You know,
one of those. Go ahead.
it'd be nice to have one street on town where you could get to the park, for instance, without tripping and falling and over something, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you looked at that, I reviewed that again today, the sidewalks. There's China Street to the park, Buckeye Street to the park is the two main streets from one end of town basically to the other to the park. Now we have to go down Main Street and cross them down to China. However,
Walnut to.
now not all those sidewalks need replaced. All right. Some of them's, all right, but that,
Buckeye Street, there's some that are decent.
Yeah. Up by me.
China
up on the
Street's
hill.
horrible.
Some that's not even there. though.
China Street's bad.
China
And the
Street's-
water department, and the water project ripped up all the old sidewalk that was in front of the old PCC building, putting the water line in.
right,
It's gone from the
They have,
doctor's
So-
office
will they
down.
have to put that back in, Chris?
yeah,
So that
That'll
sidewalk
be-
they ripped up will
right,
be
they'll,
new.
right, they'll replace that. They should. According to the
Should.
contract, they should. There's several sidewalks that, they need to, and portions of they need to replace.
I'm with Bill, and I think sidewalks and curbs to get that biggest bang for the buck. I think we also have to be mindful of what the scoring system is and what can we get for the biggest bang for the buck there. or
Okay.
What's going
No, but
to
if you look
give
at-
us the
if you
most
look at
points,
the-
you know
If
what I
you
mean?
look at
Okay.
what it says there, basically, it's talking about distressed neighborhoods and, how to improve the functionality of them.
Okay.
Sidewalks is a prime way to improve the functionality of distressed neighborhoods. People that are poor, they have to walk, so let them don't drive. Well, usually they got better vehicles than me, but they're not supposed to have.
They ask about, the way that they spoke led me to believe that you don't want to put everything in sidewalks or in streets and sidewalks. You want to have other projects for the community, like something for the rec center. Redoing the infrastructure of the rec center.
Right, that's a good one, but also
Okay.
the lighting you talked about, even
And
if we
the-
don't, the walking path
And the walk
could
path.
be done just pretty much in-house. I mean, if we don't have employees to do it right now. Tom's been real busy, we can get it done. The lighting, that's a big deal as far as the park goes and anywhere in town, actually.
Lighting and electrical upgrades down there at the park, especially trying to get them boxes and the shelter houses up to snuff and stuff like that. Like I said, he said he was going to look at it there for next year, but I'm telling you, you get 2 or 3 concessions down there and guys with things going on in that park, and we're hanging upside down trying to push breakers back in because stuff's popping all the time for events. I'd say that electric was put in the 40s, 50s, or 60s. Some of that maybe newer stuff down there on the boxes. Chris, can you
Well,
remember?
when they built that big shelter house, of course, they put the stuff in it, but that other stuff's even older.
Yeah.
Well, the one goes to put it down to the ball field, because I remember I replaced the box in the ball field, and it goes up to the box too, and that wire that runs from the,
Oh, it's,
Big shelter house was
from
built in
the
92.
big shelter house all the way to, well, that's actually boxes out beside it.
Outside, yeah. Was the big shelter house built in 92?
I don't know.
Early 90s, I thought.
I don't remember.
Lighting electrical upgrade, that would be
But yeah, that'd
huge.
be a
That would be
real good
nice.
project.
I mean, walk trail's cool.
Well, if we did that, if they could give us the capacity to run the lights for the walking trail,
Sure.
just in the upgrade.
Well, the walking trail, I mean, if we went with that thing, I ain't got 100%. But then I got to thinking, we closed the park down in the winter, we're just not gonna use it in the winter?
If they're walking, they walk right in.
Sure.
The only thing, the gate's shut for cars, it's not shut for
Right.
walking. You can walk in,
in the end.
you know, you walk in the sidewalk right down there on the east end.
Just a heads up on walking trails, if you do anything like a blacktop, you are, have a lot of maintenance with it. And you constantly killing weeds on them, rolling them, recentering them, whatever you use as far as material. And that's what they are.
Sure.
They have about school, they spend a lot of time killing weeds around the walk.
Killing weeds, and it's just ended up being gravel now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, pretty much gravel.
What is that out there at school?
It's
It's just a 1 mile walking trail.
1 mile walking trail, it's a decent walking trail though.
So it's nice.
You must have one.
That one area floods pretty bad.
Yeah.
You jump out.
Cuts across the,
I can't jump in, my leg's longer than yours.
What were they directing you toward, Brad? Or did they just say, don't,
Well, there's several, they like the more different, avenues you can cover, like Parks and Rec, and then, something for the indoor rec center, something for the paving, something for the,
you get sidewalks.
sidewalks and
ramp
curbs.
lighting.
All those things, it'd be nice to do some of them, but, you know, you have to prioritize those projects, what you want first, second, third, and then you have to send a survey after we come up with a list. We send it out to the public, then the public has to score what they feel is first, second, third, and priority. Send those in, then you have to use that, and then public really,
Well, the public's, I can tell you right now, the public's gonna be less like everybody else. First thing we wanna get done is paving. I mean, really, it's rough.
paving, sidewalks, curbs.
now,
Down there at the bottom, it says critical infrastructure. You flip it over, it says projects are designed to assist applicant communities with high priority single component projects such as roads, flood, and drainage, and other public infrastructure projects with high community-wide impact. So the more bang for the buck there for the more people, right?
yeah, but that's a different grant. The critical infrastructure is different, okay? It's a separate grant.
Okay.
Then, you have the,
So you got-
neighborhood, downtown, and critical infrastructure.
Okay. So you
That's
got
the-
basically four different.
Right, for the community allocation, yeah.
Probably wouldn't get a lot of votes, but the roof on the rec center really needs done.
Yeah.
Of course, sidewalks will get quite a few votes. Electric at the park might get quite a few.
Security lighting, and
It won't take a
upgrade.
lot of money down there
But-
comparatively.
No, you're not talking about going in and tearing out walls of buildings. It's right down the open. You upgrade, I don't know how much power's to the pools. I don't know how they feed the boxes down there. I mean, maybe reconfigure how
I
they feed
think
the
all the
boxes.
electric in the park's probably old.
It's old.
Yeah, they're not, they're
Some of that
modern.
stuff's just downright scary.
Depends on what kind of
Need new doors on the rec center too, Freddie. if you're
I have that
making a
down.
list.
The new doors is on there. What I did, I removed the handicap ramp at the east end of the building, at the rear there. I took it off and put the new doors on. Allowed $25,000 for them new doors. And that's probably gonna be pretty daggone close counting the installation when,
Man, they're probably more.
so, I don't know, possible. But I allowed $25,000 for that. I
How
allowed,
many doors?
huh?
What about the glass door on this side?
Well, it's okay. As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with the glass door there. But in my original estimate was $250,000 out of the $500 for the rec center, for the roof, HVAC, and all the new plumbing for it. But I'm not sure. There's some question as to where we can count the HVAC. All right. Tim Bob is telling us that HVAC units down there, they're old. You know, they're getting the age on them, things is breaking down, and parts are getting harder to find on.
How many units are there, train?
I don't know. I can't answer. I have no idea. I have to go on what he information he feeds me. I've not seen them. I couldn't even tell you where they're at. But I know when he works on them, you know, he just.
A couple of units are out there. They're on these.
Yeah.
posts.
They're on the side of the building on pedestals.
But you know, they all have a life expectancy just like everything else. You know, they run a lot and certain times of the year. But I allowed for the roof, HVAC, and all the new plumbing for about $250,000, $100,000 for the handicap walk in the park and the security lighting, $125,000 for sidewalks and curbs, and $25,000 for this doors and security doors for the rec center.
Now, when you give curbs, Fred, I don't know necessarily unless the sidewalks are contiguous with the curbs, but they're not. In some areas, you know, there's grass in between them. I would stick with sidewalks first. I think curbing and catch basins are going to have to be together. When we start replacing curbing, that's when you cut your catch basins in.
You guys know how much I want a walking trail, but I would give up that walking trail for more sidewalk.
Well, Tom, his idea when I mentioned what, that some of this to him before he left for vacation was saying that he'd rather see a new sidewalk and curb from Shriver's to the bridge than see it from the other way.
Replace what we got. Before we get putting new shit.
I'm just saying. Okay.
We already got stuff tore up all over town. Let's just get what we got fixed before you go.
You know, without a whole lot of money, we could put a gravel trail for walking from here to the bridge. Just like a walking trail.
I see what he's trying to get at though. He's trying to get to that 2022. If there's a sidewalk in place, then you put a sidewalk on that new bridge you're going to be put in 2022.
Yeah.
That's what I see what he's saying.
Yeah, and I was upset over getting that letter. I had to forward it to everybody.
But still, man.
I don't care. You look at China Street, you look at her street, you look at your street, my street, you look at
Anywhere.
Buckeye's probably one of the better streets, actually. The Buckeye's Street.
Part of Burley's okay, part of it's kind of rough.
Part of Burley's, yeah. You go down Cahalan, part of it's good, part of it's kind of
That's
rough.
the way everywhere, I mean.
Hers down through theirs is not good. All the way down White House.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's bad.
I'm not just your neighborhood.
Good and bad.
Mountain Head further on down, I think it might be okay down by Smith's. Is that bad down through there, Fred?
Yeah. No, they don't have it down there.
They don't have
It
it.
stops at my neighbor's house. It stops.
Yeah, Halsey's or
Yeah.
whatever their name is, their sidewalks in my.
Before I really good to replace, put more new sidewalks in, I want to get the ones we got fixed.
Yep.
But my thoughts on China or Buckeye were the direct route to the park. More people could use it, and I'm sure that the health department would be glad to hear that because I'm on that committee and they want to improve people's health by getting them walk more. Well, people don't walk because who's going to walk and trip over everything? Who's going to push a baby carriage when you're always up and down and banging and going out the street and back?
I thought each resident was responsible for your own sidewalk.
You are.
Yeah, who's got that money?
General maintenance.
Okay. Yeah, according to our ordinances, the people are responsible for their sidewalks. We're responsible for the curbs.
You just dig mine out here in grass.
Okay.
I'm gonna dig mine all out and make it.
Now,
That's
Yeah, part of mine. It was sliding out the road, yeah. Me and Joey Carr.
there's a couple of things when we talk about curbs and sidewalks we have to keep in mind, and this has come up for discussion before, and I got to remind you, that we have to do a little bit of our homework if we're going to do curbs and sidewalks, or sidewalks alone, which I'm in favor of that. But that homework being, you can only plant a certain kind of tree between that green space between your sidewalk and the curb, if you have any. because if not, the tree gets bigger and it hooves up your sidewalks and the curbs. We have several places in town like that.
Take a look, Cahalan Street's a prime example.
Oh, Cahalan
Right
Street,
there on the corner,
yeah.
Cahalan,
Right.
Billy's place right there.
Down on
That
China,
sidewalk's 3 foot,
in front of,
4 foot in the air. China, front, where the
oh,
old Ashton bulk station's at, or
China
Yeah.
Street, when they put it together years ago, they went
Yeah.
through there and planted them silver or hard maples there, and they all
And then
heaved up the,
in front of Densmore's, they have two great big sycamores. It's just destroying
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
That's just a couple places.
yeah.
Anyway, we can
Yeah.
pass legislation to change that so it won't happen again, but,
I think a lot of the trees that were planted there, Fred, me and you was talking about this, a lot of them are dead now. I mean, they're gone.
Right.
Look at one up at Billy's, the tree's gone. Just,
but we don't have anything that says you can't plant, this, in
used to be down
between
China
here.
Street, there was more trees
But
growing.
there is, you can plant in those green spaces. Some of these ordinances I've read from other villages, but you only plant certain type of trees. They go, ornaments go straight up, and don't extend out over the sidewalk and out into the street and the trees cut them and all, or the
Yeah.
trucks.
Don't buy that. I bought that
So-
tree that they told me to buy. It's covering up the street and the sidewalk, and I trim it back every year.
They told me my pine tree wouldn't grow either.
It just likes where
I
you're
got
at.
one, I got one in my front yard.
Okay, so-
These are just now starting to fall.
Fall.
About 50.
Yeah,
That one
now
up
it's
feet
covering the side.
Bradford Fair.
And it's still
Yeah.
growing.
All right, we've discussed then sidewalks and curbs and paving, the rec center, walking trail, and some new security lighting in the park. Was there anything else?
Lighting, electrical upgrade.
New electrical upgrade in the park.
Yep. Gonna have that new bathroom down there,
And have a bigger service.
bigger service for everything else. Unless there's a magic button that we're not, there's just something down there that we need to tap into to figure out something else. If there's plenty of electric there, then let's get it run to them shelter houses and places where everybody uses it. 'Cause I tell you, I ran around last year punching breakers back in and letting the church use their stuff for a little while, and then us go back and using our stuff, because you couldn't run at the same time.
Yeah, that's
Pop,
something.
pop, oh man.
Yeah,
About
something
that time
needs
the health
to-
department comes around, sticks his thermometer and stuff, and nothing's running. Man, that's not a good thing.
Okay, anything else? Very good ideas. Now, out of this 500,000, I'd like your opinion on how we should split that up. Okay? Because any one of them projects is just about take all of it, if you really want to soak it into it. But the more you split it up for different areas, the guy said the better it scores or better, I
Well,
call it
if you had to
score.
take anything off the project, as far as sidewalk goes, take off Buckeye Street, leave China on, because China's the one.
So do we want to target China? That's our main street. We can do that.
I would
And
target China because that's where everybody from the other side of town walks down.
on one side of the street,
There's sidewalk on both sides.
I know, but which, if you do it on the west side, you don't have to cross traffic that much, more than, when you get down on the east side, you have to cross over.
True. True.
Cross the
Still got
river
to park,
towards that
still got
road.
to cross it the same number of times.
Yep.
I'd say both sides.
Keep
You
in
walk
mind.
down, you gotta walk back.
Keep in mind with China Street, you got your phase 1 sewer done, you got your phase 2 sort of semi-engineered, and then you got phase 3 to do down there. You don't want to go down and do a sewer and a catch basin project and then have to tear up brand new sidewalk that you just put in.
True.
I know, and I looked at,
Just saying.
Buckeye's the street to do.
You get throwing $250,000 or $300,000 in brand new sidewalks, and then in 3 years or 4 years from now, when you got enough money in your new storm drain fund, and you do your phase 2, and you're ripping up sidewalk because you're putting in new storm drains, throwing good money away. Cause
Well-
I'd say that'd be the next project to do as far as storm stuff, is that project that's already pre-engineered, you already got money on it.
Mm-hmm.
We did that when we did the first part there for PCC and in front of the old municipal building.
What's phase 2 consist of?
From, catch me if I'm, he'd know, of course, better, but I think phase 2 went from about where, in front of PCC and.
Yep. In front of Ed Gamble's place,
From Ed
to the
Gamble's
creek.
To the creek, yep.
To the creek at the dairy
Burley
place.
Street Bridge,
Yeah,
that section. And then
That's
3
right.
was coming back
yeah.
the other way, basically like Taylor Street, McKeever Street back to the bridge. So I think that's the way it runs. I
Yeah.
think that's the way they were making
Yeah,
the
phase
water
3 is
run.
the longest one. It'll be the most expensive. So this phase 2 won't.
Are they putting additional catch basins in? Is that part of phase 3 or we had, it's not really good? I know.
It's just a figment on paper, I think, right at the moment.
No, it's engineered out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on, I'll show you here after, I mean, the plans are back here. I looked at it.
That'd be what we should go after first on that side.
Let me ask you, if we find that through the phase 2 and phase 3 of that China Street, if it's on either the east or west side, we want to do curbs or sidewalks on the opposite side, have them done?
You wouldn't want them on the same side.
No. You have to, I'm saying, I don't know if it runs down the middle or over, I'd have to look at it in here.
Trying to think where the sanitary sewer is. I think it's on the opposite end, isn't it? Opposite side. Sanitary runs on the west side.
I don't know. I
Behind
can't.
the Dairy Queen there.
Yeah.
Runs, it probably runs right down the middle of the street,
Okay.
if I remember right.
Probably.
On phase 1.
So do we want to put, how much do we want to put in the sidewalk?
Of the 500,000? I don't know, how much did you allocate for, what did you allocate for the other project? You got 25 of that for down here, right?
That's
for the doors?
Yeah, $25K for the doors.
I'd probably prioritize the
And-
roof down there pretty high, because it's what's actually tearing the building up.
So,
Is that the whole roof or just the,
No.
The low roof, the flat roof down on the side.
south side.
just over the old shower
Yeah.
rooms and stuff?
Yeah.
Put a shed roof on there. I'd probably put it right up there with the sidewalks.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't get a roof on that, then you're gonna lose that asset pretty
You're gonna
quick.
lose that whole side of the building.
Yep.
And the new plumbing, do we want to do that in that building?
It needs done. It needed done 10 years ago.
So that's,
Yeah, it's been paying for me.
yeah, I don't know how much that's going to be, but
But in order to prioritize money, you're gonna have to get estimates on those jobs.
well, that's the next thing, but we want to know, we kind of have, I don't have my note with me, but our next workshop, when Buckeye Hills has their plan, they're going to present back to us. These things, I'm going to let them know tomorrow, what we talked about tonight, and what's on the SWOT that everyone filled out, and what we're talking about here, so they can put that in to make it all come together, you know what I'm saying? So we have a plan.
Anyway, we'll decide,
So pretty much. the
Pretty
stuff
much
we've been
everything,
Talking
yeah.
about,
Yeah,
I would probably, unless they think that we'll gain points, I'd take that walking trail off for now.
Whatever
Okay.
gets us the most points.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Can you log it out as rec center, sidewalks, park,
Yeah,
instead of like tonight deciding what? part
yeah,
of rec
no,
center
that's fine. Yeah, we can do it that way, because that's what I started with. That's how I done it. I started off rec center. How much?
priority at the rec center is the roof.
The roof.
Yeah,
Rough.
And then doors secondary, but
yeah.
The doors, we don't have the money, but we
Plumbing
could probably
secondary,
find
door
money for
numbers
doors
are-
quicker than we could for that roof.
Exactly. Roof has to come first.
Okay. And how about the lighting? Don't worry about the lighting in the park, put the electrical upgrade.
I think I could go along with the upgrade, probably, Fred. We're down there upgrading electric, somebody.
But the walking trail,
I'd put it last of the projects we've been talking about.
I'd rather have blacktop on the streets than walking.
okay.
I don't know that we can get blacktop on the streets out of this, but
Yeah. I think so,
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah.
You know, we get your bang for your buck.
Tap in
But-
permissive tax
but-
and see what the kind of
you
limit.
wanna
they're
get the
giving.
public to vote for something, tell them you're gonna fix the railroad tracks.
Shit. Yeah, right. On both ends.
Everybody in town will vote for that one.
Main Street and Industrial Drive both.
Here, okay, I'll talk a little bit, just a couple minutes about the railroad tracks. The deal on that, finally when I got hold of the right person at the railroad, and I expressed my concern, and they have their way of doing things. And they pretty much told me that straight off the bat. You don't come in here and tell us what you want to do, you know, you ask us if you can do something. All right, that's the railroad, that's how much power the railroad has.
Oh, yeah.
So once I got over that hurdle, the next thing was, said, okay, I'd like to, for you guys to come back and bring your machines and raise the rails up, because using that track, now you're using it more than you ever did. You guys got that machine you come through, and it pulls the tracks up and puts new gravel under it, okay, and keeps the tracks up. But when it comes to the crossings, the weights, because they're using it so much, is sunken it down. That's why we have that. If you watch the trains go over that thing continues to sink every time those loaded cars go over. Anyway, he said that wasn't the problem. The problem was that the village, when they paved up to the approaches, they didn't pave them right. And so I'm not going to argue. I said, well, how do I get them planed down? Can you plane them down for me? And the guy says, no, I can't plane them down for you. But if you're willing to pay $75 an hour for a guard, and you have the machine to plane them, which I know you do, he said, you can plane them, and we'll just pay for the guard to get them planed down. That was the last conversation. I said, other than, well, when can I do that? And he said, give me 2 or 3 weeks notice, and we'll get it done. I said, well, they're going to do the Main Street Bridge, and I said, I want to wait until it's just about ready to open, and we'll do it. And he said, that sounds fine with me. Well, now that's delayed, and I don't know what'll happen. And that's my conversation with the railroad.
You're gonna have to be able to tear that up and put new blacktop on. You can't do that until you buy blacktop.
So,
$75 an hour for a guard to do what?
stand there.
And tell you that the train's coming?
Yeah, that's basically it. That's all, and it's their union thing. I mean, you can't,
Scott will split it with you.
it's a union thing, so that's the deal on the
Bring
railroad.
his chair down.
I'll stand there and do it and still split it with you.
That's crazy.
Well,
It's
that's,
a railway that's got too much freaking power is what it is.
yeah. And I told him,
Yeah,
I sent
power.
pictures, and I said I wanted them redone like they are in Maysville Pike. The guy laughed at me. He says, it's not a state highway. He said, if this was a state highway, we reconsider that.
Gotcha.
You just can't win with them people.
Was back in the day.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thinks about taxpayers pay for all that. We pay for you guys to make.
On this, you talked about the phase 2. This critical infrastructure, it's on that paper I gave you. Should we try to get phase 2 under that?
If we can.
They still take that whole grant.
Okay,
Phase 2 probably would take that whole
Take
rate.
that whole half million.
okay. Well, I can only ask. Here's the thing.
If you throw some money at it, and then you got some in-kind, and then we go after other grants out there.
The thing with the community development block grant money is what we're talking about now. It's Perry County's every other year. 2019's our year. okay? We can apply for funding in 2019, but it's competitive. There's only so many counties, like 44 out of the 88 counties apply for, the block grant money. They divide so much up to the counties, and so we can apply for it in 2019, and maybe it won't be until 2021 before we can do the one for phase 2 or 3 on the other. And that'd be under that infrastructure. But that's something to look forward to. I probably won't be here, so, that's something to just keep in mind, who's ever here down the road. Is there anything else we want to put on this list so when we give it to the public to ask them what their opinion and prioritize these things? Because that's going to be the next thing. We'll send it out in the water bills and see how many we get back.
I think it's a good.
I'd be in.
500,000, you pretty much
Pretty much,
burn it up.
any two of those would burn a half
Huh?
mil.
Mm-hmm.
You burn it up 3 times. What we need done.
Right. But the more little segments you can do to help, they said it's better, the chances of you getting are better. Look at Roseville as a good example, Somerset, another example. They done 4 different, under $500,000 Somerset got, or was it Junction? No, Somerset and Roseville. When Roseville got it, she put in for all kind of things, for their main street. So you have to be kind of ahead of things. That being said, the other thing we'll have to do is pay for an engineering study on it. That's our part. That's not covered in the grant. Now, when there's parts of this grant that's covered and parts that aren't, but we can discuss that further down the road. But this is a lot.
Talking about there, Fred. We're gonna have to have engineer studies. We're gonna have to have an engineer anyway.
Right.
I guess having plans drawn is not a terrible thing, even if we can't follow through. At least you have an idea of direction. You know what I mean? If you already have it engineered out.
Yeah. So it's it's all about planning and try to plan for the cycle. The funding cycles now that they're on different cycles. All right. That's all, and so we'll see how we can make out on that. And so we want to hold off on the walking trail in the park.
And I just moved it down to the list.
Okay.
Move it's
Move
not
it, yeah.
priority.
Okay.
That's what you said from there.
Okay.
All
right.
If adding it in gives you a better point value at getting the grant, you wanna leave it in.
Yeah.
But if
Just
not,
move
you have
it
to
on
give
the
up
list.
something, give up that.
But I'll have the guys from HapCap here after the guys from Buckeye Hills are finished. But they communicate back and forth. I've talked to both of them, today and yesterday. I talked to Buckeye Hills and HapCap, so. All right, great. We'll move on here. Next is a health insurance discussion. Brittany, go for it. This is not good.
So I emailed Kathy back today because we haven't heard from her. Last thing we knew, she was going to go back to Anthem for 2-3% increase instead of the 13-ish. She emailed me back. She said she got a decline to reduce rates as originally requested. So she went back and requested any rate relief, and they won't give us a reduction at all. Anthem said they couldn't help. So she sent me all this other options. You guys don't have them, but she couldn't make it here tonight, but she said she can come next week or whenever, but we have to have it in by January 1st. It's our renewal date.
Right. 1-1.
So,
So do we have a lot of claims within the village this year? I mean, is that why?
she's saying, let me find which one. I've talked to her a few times
Everybody's getting
today.
older.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just with the prescriptions and just different things, they won't budge this year due to medical and expensive medications. So, she says that we're currently on the grandmother plan, which you all know. She said we can stay on that and look at other grandmother options, because at this point, if we keep what we have, it's another $133 a month per person. So it's like an extra $2,000-ish per month.
I thought they were talking down, I thought it was down to 2%.
Oh, she was going to try to, and they come back and told her they will not give us
13%,
one
where's that
whatsoever. 13, and that's it. They won't do anything. Not a
That's
little
11
bit.
That's 11% under the national average, because the national average this year was 24% was the target.
The entrance and the,
So she gave us the different options, obviously, the Affordable Care Act, which is kind of crazy, but there's two grandmother plans, I guess. The one's what we renew at what we currently have, and that's the 13%.
Okay, and what's the rate on that,
The new one, the other one,
the current plan? What's it renewing at?
the amount. There's this whole packet.
I know, I was gonna try to find it.
She sent all this, and I tried printing it all.
It's one of the perks
Right now,
of working here, because of the
It's-
we pay.
$17,028 a month.
Yeah,
17,000 what?
28 a month. That's right now.
17,028, it's gonna go to about 19,000.
That seems a little low, actually.
yeah.
I thought it was
It
20,000-ish.
was 20 something.
Oh.
13% rate increase.
It went up 3,000 and
10% would be 17,
Let me find it.
3% would be
36,
2 grand.
3,200.
Okay, yeah. From 17,028 to 19,338.
338.
Sorry, yeah. So that's if we keep what we currently have. This other grandmother plan she gave us,
deductibles or anything changing?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Current plan's an 80-20, right?
Yeah, and the new plan will, the second grandmother plan, I should say,
Yeah.
is still 80/20. The only difference is the
Deductibles are higher.
deduct goes from 500 to 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
and out-of-pocket maximum went from 1,500 to 2,000, and the office visit goes from 20/40 to 30/60.
Yeah,
That's at a 2% increase over what we currently have.
That's a 2%.
that's
Yeah.
a 2% rate increase.
We did that last year, Brittany. And I'll be honest with you, I used some. I didn't have any trouble. I mean, as far as
You mean the school went to that?
we did, we went to higher
And
deductibles. We
like
had,
I was telling Mayor here, we're about tapped out with insurance, but if anything, to try to keep what we have, because she doesn't even recommend us going to the Affordable Care Act. 'Cause-
It's $36,000 a year,
What?
$3 grand a month.
Oh, yeah.
so if we do the second grandmother one, it'd be about $20.82 per employee per month. added.
More?
Hmm,
Okay.
yeah.
So what would that rate be?
2%.
We're talking
It's-
17,000.
Yeah, it's 2.04%. I don't have what the total amount on that one. She didn't give me that, but
It's just $500.
yeah.
17.5, let's say.
So
So you're talking about 18. Yeah,
about
still a
320
good
a
bit of
month.
money.
It's about, I think, 2,000-3,000, or no,
It's less than 2,000 a month.
is it?
It would be 1850 times 12. $1,850 difference a month times 12 for your savings difference.
So she
She recommend?
Well, the second time I talked to her, she said that biggest issue moving off grandmother plan would be the change in the drug formularies, pharmacy network issues, because it changed prescriptions entirely.
Oh, that changes too.
Network,
Oh, yeah,
only if it's a Affordable Care Act.
yeah.
With that second grandmother plan,
Everything stays the same.
except for the deductible and
Yeah,
the,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
everything
I
else is exactly the
Thought you
same.
were
No.
going there. I was like, no.
She's
it's
just telling me what
They pushed
there
us
is.
this way last year at the school, they're
Yeah.
pushing they're pushing the village up this way this year. This is insurance doing what insurance does. I mean, they come in with the high rate, and then you can usually negotiate them down, and feel like you're getting a deal, but still.
Yeah.
They're
Keeps the same prescription coverage, same co-insurance, ER, urgent care co-pays, just the office visit and the deductibles. But that one gives you a 2% increase instead of the 13. Other than that, it's just Affordable Care Act, and like I said, our renewal is January 1.
The sideways plan would save the village just under $24,000 a year.
I know.
$23,000, $23,600.
What would?
The sideways plan.
Oh.
The second one.
Grandmother plan.
It's just a higher deductible.
Granny B,
Yeah, you get a doctor.
It's there, I mean, I said we had to.
that's a $500 deductible,
kinda just
1,000. That's
stuck.
your 20,
That sucked, but at
20,
least-
40 to 30.
I mean, we're just
60, and-
stuck, cause at 13%
Oh, you
Yeah.
just can't eat it. Just can't eat it.
Right.
We couldn't ask the school to eat it.
yeah,
With this 2% raise, correct me if I'm wrong, Brittany, our insurance costs will outweigh our,
we're already, insurance is already.
outweighing what, our weekly payroll.
Rick,
Our monthly payroll is, our insurance is more than our monthly payroll
Sure.
for our employees.
How many,
They need it, they deserve it.
how many full-time on the
16.
roster? 16?
We have 16 on there.
Our youngest employee is 31. It's our youngest employee. The oldest is 71.
I'm your
It's
youngest.
1,083.
Donna?
Yeah.
This year.
Tons of them, 50s and 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
I think me and Levi's the youngest.
yep.
Yeah, just let them go to the doctor and everything.
It's worth $6.24 an hour on the wage.
How much?
$6.24 on the hour on the wage. That's the benefit for the health insurance.
I mean, the dental stayed the same.
Well, that's outside of,
I
these are
know.
outside your dental vision.
I was just saying, that sounds good.
We just went through this at school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's something in it.
But we don't have a whole lot of time, because I figured she'd come back before now, but after talking to Mayor this morning, I emailed her and
That's why
that's...
she wouldn't call me back. She didn't have any good news for me.
Yeah.
No news is never good news.
What?
Well, we're going to have to make a decision as to, what plan we want, so.
I assume no Affordable Care Act,
Sideways
right?
plan with the higher deductibles. Yeah, you
I
got it.
hate to do that to the employees, but I mean, you gotta reach that new $1,000 threshold before anything kicks in, but it's still a heck of a deal. Even if you take somebody and go out to the ACA and plan it out, I'm telling you, ooh.
They're not gonna get good insurance either. You can't buy that policy through ACA.
So,
No, it's not available.
so it's council's opinion then we should, go with the grandmother B clause? Right?
I think it's the best move for employees. I mean, as far
Well, we'll
as
have that to vote on next Monday night then.
getting good insurance. I mean, they like the insurance. The only thing that changes are deductibles. They're not going to notice it unless something major happens. That's when those deductibles.
Still 80/20 on the major.
Still at 80/20 on everything else, and it's gonna cost you an extra $10 to go to the doc. Right?
Yeah,
It's a $30
Instead of 20, it's
copay instead of
30.
20.
yep,
I pay 35 now.
yeah.
Well, there's ways you can mix, if you want to get into it deeper, you can mess around with those.
And our
Change
family
different
deductible's
deductibles like
$2,500.
ER deductibles and stuff like that. You
Pays
can
out
raise
till
and lower
it's
stuff.
there.
And it gets really, really
And that's hospital.
Nice.
stupid. It's It's a racket.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Complete and total racket is what it is.
And it sucks,
Not set
but
up for the working man.
about all we can
I
do.
got good insurance for the
Yeah.
hospital, only $10 grand a year.
We pay 15% too.
Through Medicare and my insurance.
Now you know why people are working into their 70s and 80s.
Yep.
Okay. Next,
Cover the demo hall.
You know,
any other discussion on the insurance? If not, then next is executive session for ORC 121.22, G5,
Yeah, I didn't know how to put that,
Yeah.
so I just put that.
matters required to be kept confidential. Executive session.
Supposed to be back here anyway.
Huh?
They're supposed to be back here anyway.
Well, that's what G5 says.
Okay, we're back out of executive session. Anybody from the audience have any comments or anything? Anything to come before council? Ryan?
Speak up or forever hold your peace.
All right.
Well, I think it's kind of stupid that we're gonna get charged for runoff water. That's just my opinion.
for what?
For the runoff water,
Well, a lot of towns are doing that,
yeah, I know, but
so.
I
You just-
still don't like it.
I pay for it
If
anyway.
you're one of those people whose drains are all collapsed and it's pulling up in your yard, you'd think different.
Yeah, well, maybe.
And when you have a heavy rain that runs in your yard instead of down the street.
Yeah, but some of us can't afford it,
Well, nobody can afford it,
you know.
and my income's as fixed as yours.
What's the cost on that for the present, around 240?
254.
254, yeah. Okay. The only other thing I had, you got Jerry's reports, I'll give you a couple of them, that's it.
How come you didn't give me nothing? You can give me that or that.
What, that or what? There.
You gave it to Tom, you ain't even here.
Did I really?
You did. I see where I fit in. Just kidding.
Don't even go there. Okay, nothing else coming for the workshop, we're adjourned.